measure I punched in the face. Every member of staff is like, but if we do this, I'm squaring up, it's a confrontational body stance. I must remain open, and I should be aiming at the exit at all times. Now, we said that it's like a bit of fire, you're going to get. So, if I'm moving in this direction and I'm talking to you, you're going to follow me.
Yeah.
Okay. Sit down, thank you. But the likelihood is, when someone does that, they will follow you because they want to stay in argument with you and they're not thinking rationally. So you can get them out by just leaving, because they'll follow you to go out. It doesn't happen every time, but it does work a lot. So you can just get them, and the thing you can do when someone's angry that you can't do when someone isn't, is you can repeat yourself, because what happens to our hearing when we're angry? It's completely selective. We don't hear everything. So you can just be it's called the broken record technique. I'd really like you to come outside now. I really would like you. Let's carry on this conversation outside. Let's carry on this conversation outside. Drop your voice. This is a big thing for behaviour management anyway. Never go up. Because there's a real gravitas coming down. And this isn't just females. It's not just a female thing. This is men as well. Don't raise your voice, drop it. It's much more serious, isn't it? If I drop my voice. So I need you to come out now. It's serious, it's calm. Whereas and also opening up my chest means that my breathing is going to be regular, because I'm going to be feeling. You can own up to your feelings in the moment to an extent by just saying, this is an intimidating situation. You know, this isn't okay for me and it's not okay for the kids, the other rest of the class. Admitting that feeling will stop you from hyper. It will stop you from tensing up and losing it. Saying, I have stood in front of a child who was threatening me hugely. I say a child, a massive child, threatening me, and I was saying, I am terrified right now. And they just went, oof. They didn't know. They didn't even. That wasn't their intention. They really didn't mean that. Wasn't. They were just venting. But I said, this is terrifying for me. And suddenly they're like, oh, sorry. They're not in their right mind. And it doesn't make me less. It doesn't make me more vulnerable in that sense. It was just. Okay. So crisis phase are the two things: plateau or recovery phase.
But they're actually not listening. I had kids running around the classroom like mad, and I was like, not listening to me for any second.
Well, what did you do physically when that was happening, and what were the other kids doing?
Well, first I was following him, which didn't work.
Sorry? Sorry?
And then I tried to follow him, and then I went to...
Right, so that's the thing as well. By going into him, you're literally giving him the power, power of that. So it's standing literally in the middle and saying, and just say, right, nothing else is happening in this room until you're sat down. And we're just going to wait. And it's you projecting this sort of, okay, this is dull. Think inside of your head, the projection of boredom rather than irateness. How many of you, hands up, have lost your temper? Right, you should not, you shouldn't, it's called you don't react, you act. It's really important not to actually lose your temper in the classroom. And you won't, because the more confident and comfortable you get, you really won't. Okay? So you will stop to do that. But it's so important to be aware of that, because when you lose your temper, it's all gone, isn't it? Yeah. It's all gone. It's really hard to get, and they know, they can see it. I'm aware of time. So plateau or recovery phase, during that phase, it is about that child being able to calm themselves down. What's the best way for them to do that? Time out. Just having time out. There's no time for for being told off. You're just going to send them right back. So time out, doing that thing. They could maybe write down what's happened for them if they've got poor literacy, do pictures, whatever. Get it out, get the last bits of it out. But just have time out on their own. That being around anyone is just potentially going to trigger them. Post-crisis depression phase, in that phase, really you're looking at just reassuring them, so meeting them in the corridor before your next lesson, and just talk about the learning. Just say, looking forward to seeing you, John. We're going to be doing algebra. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you say, it's just talking to the child and letting them know they're welcome back in your room. The behaviour and the child are two completely different things, and they must be seen as that. The child must know that they can behave in a certain way, but it doesn't mean you think they are a bad person. You can say a behaviour is unacceptable, but the child themselves, they're not unacceptable. Okay. You'll see a huge amount more information on all of this when you look through these slides. You've got lots and lots of tips and interventions, but I want us to very briefly, now to look at a small picture of a dog. Just to cheer you up. That's my favourite picture. Just see if you're still looking. The last thing I want to talk to you about, and I'll just do this for 5 minutes. I know lots of you want to get changed, it's just tough. My lecture does go on for 2 hours. Performance. So emotions and the impact on performance. So, this is here because what do you think confidence is? Inner self? Belief, did someone say? Can be come from other people's perceptions of ourselves. Right, so the literature that I've read, confidence comes down to 2 things, competency and comfort. Okay, competency and comfort. You are now competent teachers. You are. You are. Promise. Your faces, lad. You're competent teachers, but you're gaining comfort. Now we're about to rip that comfort away from you in January. Okay, and you're going to go into the new school. So your confidence is going to take a dive again. But your competency is going to be there, and in time, you're going to feel fantastic about it. What do you need in the short term then? If we know competency and comfort are what make up confidence, in the short term, you need courage. And this links to the kids as well. So when we're talking about them and having competency and being resilient, it's really about having courage to be able to try things and have a go at things until you start to build up your confidence. So, this is super important for you and for the kids when we talk about resilience. And this is your question about optimism. Why do I have to be optimistic? So, to have good actionable imagination, we have to have good limbic cortical circuitry developed from actual experience so that memories are enriched with actionable skills. We have to remember we can do something. So when we said about the snowflakes and not having that play and not knowing that they can be tough and do things, is because they don't have actionable memories that they can draw on in moments to believe they can do it. Now you are full of actionable memories at the moment, some of them good and some of them terrifying as teachers, yeah? Draw on the good. Draw on the good, because optimism is hugely important for resilience. This you can have a look at, we won't have. So, in terms of, I looked at elite sports professionals because that's the sort of best indicator of performance when I was looking at flow. I've done a study on flow. And what all of them come back to is optimism. You have to know, this is really hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because I could do it. It might work. And that's why it's important. It might work. If we don't have optimism, we're unlikely to try. So when we talk about children's resilience and that whole trying over attaining, then optimism is really important. But to be optimistic, we must have an actionable memory. So building into your lessons and in bearing that in mind to help a child therefore feel good in your subject. So I'm trying to bring us round circle quickly. So where we come to where we think the child doesn't have a good relationship with our subject, if we build moments for them where they feel good about that, they will have actionable memory of being or enjoying, even if they're never going to be great at your subject, of enjoying your subject, and then they will be optimistic about having a go within it. So there are ways that you can actually plan to do that so that you're able to engage your students. So this is really, really, really important because of exams. So exams, what's actually going on for a learner in an exam?
Stress.
Massive stress, massive emotions, but what type of cognitive activity is going on? They're only really doing one thing. Recall, yeah, so memory. They're in recall. Now that is ideal for flow. So when you have a look through these slides and look at flow, when you're looking at your learners and preparing them for highly stressed, high performance environments, they are in recall. Recall is flow. You can't learn in flow because flow is a particular emotional state and a state of cognitive ability. You're not learning. You're just recalling and acting out. So what you need to think about with your students is how do you build them into that? Well, you give them lots of practice so that they get emotionally comfortable with the environment and with what they're doing, so that when they go into an exam, it's not awful. That phrase, out of your comfort zone, is completely stupid. You don't want to ever be out of your comfort zone. You want to stretch your comfort zone because you want to be comfortable to perform. You can't perform well if you're out of your comfort zone. So working with your students to increase their comfort zones so that when it comes to doing the exam, they're able to maintain flow. It's a very emotional state. It's emotions and memory, and that's the whole of it. So, last thing, just we're going to finish up on. Huge amount I've gone through, and I know, but there is a lot more in the slides, so you can take your time, and you can always ask me throughout the year. How do you think emotions will inform your practice after today? If you can just turn to the person next to you and maybe just say, what is it out of the last 2 hours that you think you'll take forward into your anything from today that you thought, yeah, it's something I'm going to think about?
So just being aware.
Just being aware, yeah? Of your own emotions and other people's. Anything else? Yeah.
That you can only control so much, like you are not in control of what happens before that lesson and after it. So
Yeah.
that's a big influence on how you react.
Really good. Anyone else? Yeah.
Build some more of these actionable memories for them. So be a bit more exaggerated in the positive behaviours and so on. And I keep forgetting about that. So please remind me.
Anyone else? You can go. Thank you so much this afternoon. I know that was a long 2 hours. It's very hot in here, but thank you.